I'm not happy with how long the last mission ran on, so I'm going to try to be a little more concise here. Miles decides to get revenge on the Pumpkin Gang after they lick their wounds back at their temporary base. So they found out that on the map they were using in the home phase that it's actually marked where the Pumpkin Gang lives. So whoever had that map before marked it down. You'll notice that they live on the outskirts of the city. They're pretty well hidden from the road. If you look, it's not very obvious where they live. And they watch and wait until the Pumpkin Gang eventually leaves. And they watch them for a couple hours or whatever until they leave. Well, then, when they go to rob the building, they realize that the Pumpkin Gang worships this deity called the Halloween Demon. This giant moss and wood and pumpkin creature comes out, and it's being fed by these 3 yellow objectives, these 3 yellow nodes, that the Pumpkin Gang is using to slowly bring this thing into reality. So it's stuck right here at their base for the time being. It's not quite at full power. So we are going to be playing the solo mission, the boss battle, or boss fight rather. And let's see what we can do. This thing is going to be a complete monster to fight. So let's see how it goes. So we have deployed all of our forces. There's Lancer and Dunch and Gil and Miles, and you'll notice that Reich is all the way over there by himself. He's going to be trying to take that far objective, and he's kind of a scout, so that's why he's on his own. The boss gets the first activation, and believe it or not, he tries to tangle Reich in a thicket of vines by growing them out of the ground using paws. He fails that. He successfully charges Reich. He does a total of 5 hits on him thanks to critical hits, and he completely murders Reich on the very first turn, which is devastating to our group. Reich is able to strike him back, dealing 1 unsaved damage, and is able to damage his weapons on his hands. So he's going to be disarmed until his next activation. It's going to prevent him from moving, which is awesome for our side. Alright, Miles is now, remember, he's a fanatic now, so every time his willpower checks go off, they're a critical. If he fails them, they're a critical. So he's decided to go doubling down on this, and he says, you know what, I'm either going to do better or I'm going to die. So far, he's doing better. He does 2 time slip tokens on Gil, and he's able to put out a full foot of walking barriers, so the monster's going to have to go around that. So that's actually pretty darn good. Good old Brainless Dunch moves up next, and he shoots. He's barely in range. He shoots at the Halloween Demon, dealing another wound to him, unsaved, and gives him -2 fighting skill, which is amazing. I think that was lacerations. So they're just shredding this monster right now. Let's see if they can keep that up. Next is the Halloween Demon. He's going to roll for his healing. He got a 4, so he's automatically, he's going to, in his movement phase, he's going to remove his disarmed. He's going to heal himself. Then he's going to heal himself back to 9 hit points. If I can ever find a 9 on this dice, you feel like it would be easier than that. Now, there's some special rules I haven't really gone over with the boss fight, but essentially powers are free. So he's going to go ahead and run 7. His movement is 8, so he's going to move 7. For our next 2 activations, Gil moves up and runs towards this objective. We can do extra damage if we activate these, damage these nodes for him. And then Lancer moves and runs as a free action, and then shoots with the leader's free action and does nothing to the demon. And because the boss activates after each time 2 of our units do, he gets to activate before the end of the turn. So he moves and runs to the edge of this barrier, and he has his sights on poor Gil. He's also going to, as a free action, try to tie him up with some vines, and he actually doesn't get that, so nothing happens with the vines there. But now it is the beginning of turn 2, and we're not in a great position. He gets to activate first each turn, and activates after every 2 of our people. He is now bypassing our barrier, which is a problem, and Reich died on the very first turn. So let's see what we can do now. Alright, for his activation, his first activation, he is going to move up and cast the Pause via the Vines, and he gets it, so poor Gil is going to be paused now with Vines. Then he successfully charges him. He's got 4 attacks on the charge, and he's able to get 3 of them through. Gil's able to save 2 of them and has to use one of his time slip tokens. He had 2 there. So one of his time slip tokens to save the third one he couldn't save. He strikes back at the Halloween Demon, dealing 1 unsaved wound and a face gash, which is going to be -1 willpower. For our first activation, we figured we should probably strike while the iron's hot, because we get to activate 2 people before this monster activates again. So Lancer runs up through that brush and activates that node. She rolled a 9, which is 2 unsaved damage on that guy, so that's putting him down to 7 now, and that is just awesome. Unfortunately, the node goes away. She completely destroyed the node, but that's 2 free damage on this guy. And using a free action from the leader, she tried to shoot through this, but the cover was too good, and she did nothing to the Halloween Demon. Next up we have Dunch. He takes aim instead of moving, deciding to plant his feet and protect Miles. He shoots at Halloween Demon, who saves the 1 hit. For the boss's activation, a lot of things happened here. He unsuccessfully paused Gil. Gil was already paused, and he successfully healed himself by 1 hit point, so he was back up to 8. He then charges Gil. They trade blows, and Gil ends up getting a disarmed, and he loses a hit point, so he's down to 2, and he actually got 2 unsaved wounds, but he saved 1 with a time slip. And then Gil is able to strike back, dealing another damage to the Halloween Demon and blinding him. So that is pretty. Gil is actually holding his own here. So let's see what we can continue to do, take down this monster. All right, for our first activation, we're going to get Gil to try to break free of all these vines. His dexterity is a 5, so 1 through 5, a 6. No, he's still paused. He can't get free. So he's sitting there unarmed, and he's completely wrapped up in vines. He can't do anything about it. So next up, we have Miles, and Miles is going to have to do something to save this group. He can't just sit here and let this happen. So he's going to move around 6 inches to be right there, and then he's going to cast Time Slip on Gil, and he gets it with a 3, and of course, you know what? He's going to actually, because it's a critical, he's going to put 1 on Gil, and he's going to put 1 on himself. That's going to guarantee that he can make this next cast. So now he's going to put a walking barrier around the Halloween Demon. And see, that is an 8. He barely makes it there. So we're actually going to move this like this around the Halloween Demon. So the Halloween Demon is getting marked off now. And there you go. So now he has put an energy barrier around the Halloween Demon, who is going to have to go around. The last activation of turn 2 is the Halloween Demon. He was blinded, so all he could do is walk, and then the blinding token goes away. He's able to regenerate, grabbing from this foliage near him and repairing himself. He's back up to 8 hit points. This Halloween Demon is living up to its name. It tries to heal itself and critically fails, so it takes a damage. Then it charges into poor Lancer. Lancer's caught in the middle of this woods, and she can't do anything about it. It does 5 unsaved damage to her, and Lancer is immediately crushed. I think he bangs her against that building and tosses her into the woods, and that was just terrible. Alright, Miles is not playing around anymore. Gil uses a time slip that he did have to auto-pass his Pause token from the vines, and then he is able to get rid of his disarmed, and then he's able to run as a free action for 1 inch. Not crazy good, but Miles makes up for himself. He puts 2 time slip tokens on himself and is able to cast a 12-inch barrier. It's supposed to be straight. 12-inch barrier just like this around him that's blocking his movement. So he can still get around it, but it is definitely helping the team. The Halloween Demon is able to heal himself 1 more hit point. He's back up to 8. And then he's able to climb up over these buildings, which definitely hindered him, and he's making his way around. Now all we have left is Dunch. So we are going to move Dunch up. Actually, yeah, we're going to move Dunch up 6 inches. And then he's going to take aim at the Halloween Demon. We need 2 rolls of 7 or higher. And we failed them both. Good job, Dunch. And that's the end of our turn. On turn 3, the beginning of this, we have a lot going on. The Halloween Demon is able to heal itself 1 more hit point. He moves over here and charges. Well, he casts Paws. He wraps Miles up in vines. He charges Miles. He does 4 hits on him. Miles is able to save 2 of them, but fails 2 of them. So he's going to use both of his time slips to take no damage. He tries to strike back and does nothing to the Halloween Demon. So he's going to move back 2 inches. Unfortunately, the Halloween Demon right now is within 2 inches of him, so he's going to move back just a little bit. So now this is a really tough thing because Miles is paused, and we really got to get Miles unpaused. I don't know what's going to happen now. We decided that our next 2 activations, we need to just hammer this guy because this game doesn't stop until we're dead or he's dead. So Dunch aims and is able to do 1 unsaved damage and blind the Halloween Demon, which is our best case scenario here. And then Gil is able to get in his rear arc. He successfully makes his charge, and he was at 2 hit points here. He should be at 2 hit points right here until I say what I'm about to say. He strikes the Halloween Demon from behind, and he's able to get a total of 3 unsaved damage because 1 of them was a critical hit. So we're putting the Halloween Demon now at only 4, which is amazing. In addition to that, he also does -2 dexterity for him, so he'll be able to be shot by Dunch a lot easier. Unfortunately, the Halloween Demon comes over here, clocks him right in the head, and gives old Gil a confusion. So that is, he's down to 4 hit points, but he's still not harmless, that's for sure. When he activates, he tries to wrap Gil up in vines. He fails that, but he critically succeeds in healing himself, so now he's back up to 6 hit points. And remember, those are free actions for this boss in this battle. And then this turn, all he can do is move, and he is blinded until next time. So next up, we have old Miles. He tries to break free of these vines, otherwise he can't do anything, and he fails. So he is just sitting there, and that is a problem. So the monster, at the beginning of this turn, he tries to put a pause token on somebody, and he's able to put it back on Miles because they clear at the beginning of the turn. And he tries to heal himself, and he critically fails, so now he actually lost a hit point. He charges into Gil. Unfortunately, he's able to kill poor Gil, but Gil strikes back at him, and he gives him an agony and makes him lose a hit point. So that's why he's back down to 4. And that is just unfortunate. I don't know if we're going to win this game or not. This is tough. This monster is crazy. So Miles ends up hurting himself trying to do a time slip token, but he successfully gets off these movement blocking barriers. In the meantime, Dunch is able to move and run over here to this objective, and he is fearless, so he's got a much smaller range of not being able to activate objectives because an enemy's nearby. And he, believe it or not, rolls a 9. That is 2 damage with no saves off of the monster, putting this monster down to 2. So this is very, very exciting. We nearly have this monster dead. Now he's in agony, so let's go ahead and see what we can roll for his willpower. And his willpower is a 6. Oh, where'd we... An 8! He fails his willpower, which is amazing. So he is still in agony. Alright, so he is going to try to pass his agony again because this is the beginning of a new turn. And there's no turn limit on this game. It's either he dies or we die. But we got him down to 2. So let's go ahead. And he passes it. His agony is off now. Let's roll for his healing. And critically fails it. He is down to 1 hit point. That is awesome. That is really, really awesome. And of course, he's going to move over here. I should have done that first. He moves over here. We're going to roll for the charge. Hopefully he fails. And a 5 is going to get him in. So let's see what happens in close combat. Okay, of all times to not have shown the rolls, you guys may not believe me, but this was absolutely amazing. So the Pumpkin King, or the Halloween Demon is able to do 2 unsaved damage to poor Dunch. He does trauma and then a nothing because he rolled a 1. But ends up breaking the gun on Dunch. And him and Dunch have this epic battle. Dunch is just a ranged guy, so he's not great at melee at all. But luckily, the Halloween Demon has 1 hit point left, and Dunch lands a hit, I guess with his broken weapon, beating the Halloween Demon over the head. And the Halloween Demon fails it. Believe it or not, Dunch, in close combat, kills the Halloween Demon. And I gotta tell you, buddy, you are the MVP for this game, Dunch. You are freaking awesome. So I was having some help this game with my daughter, Gabby. So thank you for rolling so well, Gabby. And this was a very exciting game. We were both so excited when he rolled all that. So we actually won this game, believe it or not. Okay, after this mission, we have some serious leveling up. Dunch got a total of 7 experience, and Gil got 8, Reich got 2, Lancer got 3, and Miles got 3. So they all leveled up a bunch of times, several different things happened, they got passive abilities that were boosted and whatnot, but most important thing is Dunch will find 2 gold every time he rolls in the home phase to search for gold, and now he's also a shredder, which is awesome. And Gil is now a fighter, he strikes first, he also improved his inspiring, and he gained haggling, so he can haggle for better prices with the merchant. Reich is now a skirmisher, which is awesome. And Lancer's now a pistolier, which is what I always envisioned her with. And Miles is still a fanatic, obviously. He was already upgraded, but he improved his chemistry ability. And I've already pre-rolled all of their things in the home phase. So you see Dunch on a 6-up gains 2 gold. He failed that. Gil is able to actually talk a insanity off of Lancer now. He does that on a 6-up, and he rolled a 7. So that's awesome. Lancer could not find a merchant, but Miles does get a potion. So now Lancer has a potion and Miles has a potion. And I actually forgot to sell that to the merchant last time. I could have sold it for gold. So I need to remember that. Now I've got 2 potions to sell, and that's exciting. So that is all of our stuff in the home phase. And we're going to go exploring, because why not? So let's see what we roll on the exploration chart. Lancer is the leader of this expedition. And we roll a 2, which is reconnaissance. Our next mission, opponent must deploy all their units first. Blah, blah, blah. That's not super great. But oh well. So that is mission 3. This was shockingly a success. I did not expect it to turn around well at the end, but it did. Thanks for watching.